Most people don't fail at building wealth because they lack information. They fail because they're protecting an identity that feels safe, an identity that feels familiar, an identity that quietly whispers, "This is just who I am." And until that identity dies, your income will stay exactly where it is. Today, we're going behind the money, into the psychology of identity, and why your bank account is just a reflection of who you believe you are. Have you ever noticed something strange? Every time you start making progress, financially, physically, mentally, something pulls you back. You get a raise, then overspend. You start investing, then panic sell. You build momentum, then sabotage it. That's not laziness. That's identity protection. Psychologists call this self-consistency theory. We are wired to behave in ways that align with how we see ourselves. If deep down you believe, "I'm not good with money. Rich people are greedy. People like me don't get ahead. I always struggle," then your behavior will unconsciously defend that belief. Not because you're incapable, but because your brain values consistency over success. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your identity. Imagine your income is controlled by a thermostat. If it's set at $70,000 a year, that's where you'll hover. You might spike above it temporarily. You might drop below it, but you'll always regulate back to that set point. Why? Because that number feels normal. That's your financial identity. If you grew up watching your parents struggle, if everyone in your circle earns around the same amount, if you've never seen wealth modeled up close, your nervous system literally categorizes more as unsafe. And here's the brutal truth. Your nervous system doesn't care about your dreams. It cares about survival. And survival prefers familiar struggle over unfamiliar success. Here's something most people won't admit. Your ego might be attached to struggling. Struggle can feel noble. I work hard. Nobody handed me anything. I grind. But sometimes, grinding becomes an identity, and wealth requires evolution. If your ego is built around being the underdog, if your personality is built around being the one who never gets lucky, if your story revolves around being overlooked, then success threatens your narrative, and the ego will protect the narrative at all costs. This is why some people sabotage opportunities, not because they can't win, but because winning would force them to become someone new. Look at anyone who built serious wealth. Before the money came, the identity shifted. They started thinking like an investor before they had investments. They started acting like an owner before they had ownership. They started carrying themselves like someone who expects success. Identity always precedes income, not the other way around. This is why affirmations alone don't work. You can't say, "I'm wealthy," while living like someone who expects loss. The shift happens in micro-behaviors. Tracking your spending consistently, saying no to status purchases, investing even when it feels small, delaying gratification without resentment. Those actions slowly teach your brain, "This is who we are now." And once your identity shifts, your behavior stops fighting you. There is a version of you that cannot become wealthy, not because of intelligence, not because of opportunity, but because that version is addicted to familiarity. To build wealth, something has to die. The need to impress, the need to be right, the need to be the victim, the need to prove doubters wrong. Real wealth is quiet. It doesn't perform. It doesn't flex. It doesn't beg for validation. It builds. And most people never cross the financial threshold they want because they refuse to let their old identity go. So how do you change identity? You don't start with money. You start with evidence. Decide who you are becoming, not what you want, who you are. Make one daily decision that aligns with that identity. Track behavior, not outcomes. Instead of, "I want to be rich," shift to, "I am someone who builds assets." And then act like it, even when nobody sees it. Identity compounds faster than money. And once the internal shift happens, the external follows. If you're stuck financially, it's not a strategy problem. It's an identity problem. The money you want requires a different version of you. And that version won't emerge accidentally. It will require discomfort. It will require ego death. It will require you to release the story you've been telling about yourself. But on the other side of that shift, wealth stops feeling impossible. It starts feeling inevitable. This is behind the money. And the real work is never about the money.